something else I think that's worth talking about here, Amy, are those emails that were uncovered that show that Dr. Fauci and Dr. Francis Collins launched that smear campaign against a group of scientists, well-respected scientists, who warned about the public health dangers of lockdowns. They also wanted to talk about actual health, physical fitness, and sleep, and other things that might prevent the disease and the severe illness from the disease. And we learned from these emails just how restrictive and manipulative Dr. Fauci and Dr. Collins were to shut that stuff down.
Well, it's disgusting that he's still in this position. And we also know that he was part of the funding with the whole entire beginnings of COVID. So, the fact that the Biden administration doesn't have the guts to actually remove him tells me that they're obviously all profiting from this somehow, some way. And we do know, too, that they also strong-arm at the local level. So it's not just them putting the pressure on those who want to be anti-vaccine or anti-mask mandate, but we also know that they put the pressure on local doctors to not actually prescribe ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or other possible measures to save lives. We also know, which I found very interesting, that the monoclonal treatment is not offered everywhere. In fact, here in Las Vegas, I just learned that it's only offered at a couple of hospitals. And get this, if it was so important, and we know that it saves lives, it's not even offered on the weekend. Why?
Yeah, that is a great question. I mean, we have so many advancements now with monoclonal antibodies, other preventative treatments, and we don't hear anything about that stuff from this administration. And specifically, Rogan, I mean, a guy like yourself, fairly young, very healthy, the odds of you dying from this, I mean, you're not the one that they should be pushing the vaccine on, but yet it's still this one-size-fits-all solution from the administration.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest opposition on the right. They try and claim that people on the right are anti-vaccine. No, we're anti-vaccine mandates. And that's the difference between President Trump and Joe Biden. President Trump says, yeah, if you want to get the vaccine or the booster, go right ahead, make yourself at home. But this should not be forced onto people. It should not. You should not be fired if you don't take this drug with no long-term studies. It should be a personal choice. And, I will say Joe Biden's activating the military to help administer some of these shots and to help out with medical facilities. Why? Because there's a nursing staffing shortage because so many were fired from these vaccine mandates. He's trying to fix his own problem with the military. Now we have the military injecting people in a free country. I mean, this is just getting out of hand.
Yeah, we were just talking about what Lori Lightfoot said about President Trump's troops from the Justice Department trying to tamp down the violence in Chicago. Can you imagine, Amy, what these folks would be saying if President Trump activated the military to give people shots? They didn't want to take the vaccine in the first place when they're getting advice from the doctors, Kamala Harris and the rest. But now, it just, again, goes to show you the duplicity with a lot of this stuff.
Right, because all hell would break loose, and we know that if it was under Trump. The sad fact is you actually stated this at the very beginning. How many lives could have been saved? Do they honestly care? It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't seem like it. Or else our doctors wouldn't be afraid to prescribe alternative medicine to make sure that lives are being saved. Instead, they're being threatened, and they're being threatened of losing their license. And that's not okay.
No. Yeah, we have one death in this country. We reported on that at the top of the hour, Rogan. And this person who died was between 50 and 60 years old, had underlying health conditions. This person was not vaccinated. I read this was also a cancer survivor here. I mean, one death in the WHO and Dr. Fauci, Joe Biden basically saying, cancel your plans. Bill Gates said he's canceled all his Christmas plans, and we know he's vaccinated and probably wears like 6 masks. But they're pushing this panic again really hard, and we don't have the evidence to back that up that it's time to panic.
Imagine if they use that same, zero death hysteria type of reaction for anyone taking the vaccine. We all know that there are adverse side effects to this, although rare, but people are suffering adverse effects to this. So if they have that same policy for someone dying with or from COVID, they should maybe do it for the vaccine. But I will say this, going back to the emails, there were policy discussions that Dr. Fauci, like Amy said, helped fund the virus, and now he's giving us advice on it. Shame on him and us for allowing it. But Governor DeSantis held a roundtable discussion with those same doctors that Dr. Fauci was demonizing. And not only did Governor DeSantis implement that policy, and now Florida has the lowest COVID rate of transmission out of the entire country, but that video was also censored off social media on YouTube. I mean, think of that for a second. Not only was it a successful policy, but those were elected officials, medical doctors that were censored. Things have just, again, gotten so out of hand. It's feeling very communist these days.
We had a doctor on yesterday, Dr. Lahita, talking about, the silver lining here with Omicron is that there's going to be a massive natural immunity situation here in this country after it's all said and done. We're already starting to see this in other countries, and then it's going to be interesting to see all these doctors like Dr. Fauci and Dr. Collins try to explain, again, that natural immunity is not really important here, or whatever they want to say, and they want to push these vaccines and boosters, of course, but we'll be talking about boosters this time next year, I imagine, if nothing changes in the midterms. Great to see you both.
I actually heard Dr. Fauci in an interview yesterday saying that he's not going anywhere until this is eradicated. It was not going to be.
Hey, it's job security, right? If you're Dr. Fauci, the highest paid guy in federal government, job security. Great to see you, Amy Rogan. We'll see you guys in the next hour as well. Talk about some conservative counterculture. Also coming up, a Harvard Unity